vaudeville novelty act so popular in the theater district of the day. He then continued down Broadway after Ferenc. As he did so, taking the opportunity to relieve two affluent gentlemen of their wallets and pocket watches. Ferenc entered a pawn shop, a dozen blocks south of Longacre Square. Diogenes ducked into a nearby tailor shop and hastily purchased a shirt, Inverness cape, and hat, which he then put on. His leather valise was sufficiently worn and inconspicuous that it did not need further disguising. Buttoning the cape up to his neck and lowering the brim of his hat, he emerged again. Strolling past the pawn shop, he saw Ferenc concluding the sale of a jade figurine, stolen by the looks of it from the Pendergast family collection, in return for some folding money, a cape, and a cap. He left the shop and continued hurrying southward, Diogenes close behind. What was Ferenc up to? The very mysteriousness of his errand, and the abruptness with which it had commenced, fascinated Diogenes. It was obviously premeditated, and probably involved making a great deal of money. Greed, he knew, was one of Ferenc's weaknesses, but what could his plan be? Without knowing it, Ferenc could ruin everything for Diogenes, and the wisest course would be to kill the man at once. But curiosity, among other thoughts more nebulous, stayed his hand. He would let the man's little scheme play out. It did not take long to see what he was up to. Minutes later, Ferenc crossed 26th Street and entered the New York Federal Bank of Commerce. After loitering a few moments at a desk reserved for filling out slips, he got in line at one of the teller stations. Diogenes got in another line. Soon Ferenc had reached the window and was being served. Almost immediately, Ferenc's intended transaction grew problematic. His teller left the iron-barred window, returned again, left once more, only to return with a functionary of greater importance. But even this gentleman could not satisfy Ferenc. Diogenes had by now shuffled close enough to catch the conversation, and any lingering mystery veiling Ferenc's sordid little scheme quickly dissipated. The man was trying to exchange $100 in period paper for 25 of the rare $4 gold pieces known as stellas, but the bank, unfortunately, had only 2 on hand, both in poor condition. Diogenes felt a swelling of derision. So, this complex and dangerous field trip into the past, where so much might be accomplished by a man of imagination and daring, was merely about filthy lucre after all. Ferenc wanted to take those rare coins back to the 21st century and sell them for a huge profit, but already he was making a hash of it. Diogenes's amused contempt now mingled with disappointment, verging on anger. He would kill the stupid little man as soon as the opportunity presented itself. He watched as Ferenc, enraged by the failure of his scheme, vented his ire by cursing at the woman in line behind him. A guard came forward, and the ensuing struggle revealed a cheap digital watch on Ferenc's wrist, which he'd obviously forgotten to remove. This alien object turned the minor altercation into an absurd melee, ending with the hapless Ferenc being handcuffed and dragged off in a steel-banded paddy wagon. Diogenes, watching with the rest of the crowd, overheard a policeman say the man was being transported to Bellevue Hospital. As the wagon doors closed behind him, Ferenc was loudly claiming to be from the future, and crying out Pendergast's name. Diogenes, who, like Mithridates, had managed to steel himself against almost anything, was nevertheless deeply disturbed to hear Ferenc shouting so recklessly. He and his babbling explanations could expose and ruin everything. Diogenes hailed a fly carriage and followed the paddy wagon. What a perfect idiot Ferenc was. Any good numismatist could have told him the stellas were pattern coins, never authorized for circulation, and not normally available at a commercial bank. As he followed the paddy wagon, Diogenes mused on the irony that a man like